For my book study, I read The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. In this story, the main character Santiago feels compelled by a dream to go on a journey very far away to the pyramids in Egypt. He is persuaded to go on this adventure by a gypsy he talks to for advice. He is then told that this is his personal legend by a man who calls himself the King of Salem. The King of Salem convinces him to take a large risk selling a sheep and pursuing his dream. On his trip, he is robbed of everything he has and has to get a job to live and continue pursuing his dream. He gets a job as a crystal merchant and encourages the merchant to take risks with his business as he has with the sheep. Santiago and the merchant get rich together. However, instead of staying there and living a comfortable lifestyle, Santiago decides to. He joins a caravan and meets an Englishman who wants to be an alchemist. He also meets a girl he falls in love with named Fatima. Along the way, the Englishman introduces Santiago to a 200-year-old alchemist. The alchemist convinces Santiago to leave Fatima and to keep pursuing his dream. The alchemist goes with Santiago to the desert to follow his dream to the pyramids. Santiago and the alchemist are captured by Arab soldiers, and the alchemist gives up all the money that Santiago earned and told them Santiago could turn into the wind to save their lives and earn their freedom. The alchemist leaves Santiago gold, and Santiago finds the pyramids where he is beaten up by two men. Before they leave, one of the men tried to make Santiago feel bad about following his dream by telling him about a dream that he had about a treasure buried in Spain under a sycamore tree. Santiago realizes that he is referring to the tree under which he had the first dream to go to Egypt. So he goes back to Spain, finds the treasure, and then he returns to Fatima. The author gave a lot of creative insight into telling an age-old story a new way. He is more or less telling a story about the risks in daily life and in a more entertaining and fanciful manner. When the author talks about Santiago getting beat up or robbed, I believe that's a metaphor for mistakes or obstacles that stand in the way of anyone reach a difficult goal or really trying to improve themselves. I interpreted this book as a guide for entrepreneurs or anyone who is hesitant about taking a risk in life. The author is basically saying sometimes you have to take risks, fall down, and get right back up in order to find a reward that might be right under your nose the whole time. This is especially true with innovations. You may have ideas that don't work, companies that may fail, but that doesn't mean you should lose sight of the dream. It also puts into perspective a lot of the sacrifice that risks entail. Sometimes you have to put current wealth, security, and relationships aside for the dream and the bigger picture. What I really took from this study is that it is not always beneficial to play things safe. Sure, Santiago fell down a few times and was down on his luck, but he always had people to help him back up, and he grew as a person each time. In the end, he came out happier, richer, and more well-versed in the ways of the world than he ever would be if he had stayed his life as a shepherd. As far as my personal growth goes, I think I'll be more open to risks after reading this. I am usually someone who likes to play it safe, even if I'm confident in the outcome. Reading this gave me a new perspective, which is that fear of losing out shouldn't prevent you from taking risks and the joy of winning or accomplishing a goal.
Created using Powtoon.